Hey everyone, I want to thank you guys for clicking on today's video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification button so you know when the next videos come out. So today we have a table talk. We got an up and coming actor. We're going to get into the nitty gritty and expose some of the things behind the industry and the challenges that we have. But we have Martin James in the house.
Hey, what's going on, man?
What's up, man? We had your dad in the other day.
Yes,
Uh,
absolutely.
Absolutely awesome father, I would say. I mean,
Thank you.
I've only known him for a couple months, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
you grew up with the man, so you probably got some
Yeah, I
some
was like
other
knowing him for
stories.
32 years, man. He's a rock star, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
he's been awesome. But thank you for coming on the podcast. And yeah, we're just here to have a little table talk,
Absolutely.
talk a
Thank you
little bit
so
about
much for having
everything.
me, bro. And really cool setup, if I can just say that really quick.
Yeah,
Really,
man.
really, yeah, 10 out of 10, bro.
And well, and
Definitely.
that means a lot because you're in the entertainment industry.
Hmm.
So thank you for that, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, man. Growing up, how you got into acting, all of that.
So yeah, growing up, I feel like I kind of gave my age away already. I'm 32 years old. Growing up, I was born in Chicago. My father's side's all from Chicago. My mother's side's from Detroit. Been in Arizona for about, I mean, since July 4th of '05, 2005.
Okay.
Went to high school in 2006. I guess, love for performing didn't start until my sophomore year of high school.
What high school did you go to?
Raymond S. Kellis.
Okay.
Yeah, and it really didn't start until my sophomore year of high school. I got into dance. Prior to that, I was in sports. I ran track, played football, loved football, man. And surprisingly, for my weight at that time and my size, I was, I think, 175 pounds my freshman year, and I played all line left guard, like right next to the snapper. You know what I'm saying? So you have the snapper, you're right to the left of that. And I don't know how I got into that position in
Uh-huh.
football, but I just loved it. Prior to that, I did a little bit of basketball, and yeah, it wasn't until my sophomore year to where I joined beginning dance. That's when it really started for me. I think before my sophomore year, I went to go see a performance that my high school was holding, and I saw these two people performing to like the hottest mixes at the time. You know, it's
Yeah.
just like one big mix that they were
Was it
performing.
was it hip hop
It
or
was hip hop, man. It was hip hop. It was mixed with a little bit of movement styles of hip hop and also the
okay?
movement styles of contemporary lyrical, but more of a faster pace, more of an upbeat. And then after I seen that performance, I was like, man, I really want to try that. I was in the audience, like grooving to it. It was very nice. The energy was very cool, and yeah, I found myself in my counselor's office trying to figure out how I can, start with dancing. And um, that was pretty much my high school. So I got into dancing my sophomore year, junior, senior year. It was a beginning dance level one. You have to
Mm-hmm.
take two of those courses. You take the level two classes, another two courses. And then you have an opportunity to audition for the performance dance team.
Oh, okay.
This was like the school's top dancers in a sense for the high school.
Mhm.
And this is where the performance dance team would perform at the pep rallies early in the morning. They would perform at the halftime shows, basketball games, halftime shows for the football games, and you'll travel around Arizona competing. Should the school want to compete? But when it comes to acting, I feel like it was my brother, man. So I'm a twin. I'm the
Okay.
younger twin. My brother's 2 minutes older than me. He's got me beat. He was 8:26, I believe, a.m., and I was 8:28 a.m., literally 2 minutes right after him. But he was in theater, man. He was the theater nerd, and I say nerd as a compliment because I feel like anybody who's a nerd is really gifted at what they're into because they're so into it.
Hmm.
But I saw my brother perform, and I wasn't gonna graduate high school without performing one time with my brother. You know what I'm saying? So it was senior year when we had a chance to audition, and I auditioned for a play called "The Boy Who Changed the World,"
Hmm.
and it was caveman time. So our characters were cavemen. I actually got booked as a lead role. I had no idea what that meant. Lead, supporting, whatever. I had no idea. Very, very entry level, if I can even say that. But I played a grumpy old mayor. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? I had like the club that they have, back in the day. But I mean, it was pretty cool, man, because that was on my bucket list to want to perform with my brother.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm very happy that I got a chance to do so. And then fast forward all of these years, I'm now doing it professionally, probably for about 3, 4 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So were you and your brother pretty competitive when it came to acting or getting roles and stuff like that?
Competitive, probably. I don't want to say competitive. Well, I'll say yes and no.
Uh-huh.
The
Because your dad's, I mean, he's an athlete,
Yeah,
so he knows a little bit about competition and
yeah.
being your best at everything, right?
I would say the competition element was towards the other people. For example, if we had to go against another team or
Oh, okay,
whatever it may
okay.
be, but to really the competitive nature for us, like within our circle between me and my brother, we just always wanted to do our best.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So whenever it came to, and my brother also started dancing too in high school, so we kind of traded roles. You know what I'm saying? So
Oh.
any acting thing, I would go to him. Any dancing thing, he would kind of come to me, and we would rehearse in the garage.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but the competition was very healthy. You know what I'm saying? Just wanting to
Mhm.
push each other. You
So you
know?
almost you guys were two-man team
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
it's like you and me against the world kind of thing.
Yeah, I feel
And
like we've always had that type of attitude.
okay.
Definitely.
So then what was your first like big break into the acting scene? Cuz if you started off as dancing,
Hmm.
then all of a sudden there was a transition, right?
Hmm. Well, I feel like I'm always. It kind of goes hand in hand. It depends on what
Oh,
the
okay.
audition is asking for. My big break, I think, was getting picked up to do some short film projects.
Oh.
It's in the beginning, it's going to be a lot of voluntary work, a lot of
Mhm.
non-paid gigs, a lot of stuff that you will kind of have a little bit of savings for.
Mhm.
But it was just doing short films, to be honest with you, locally in here in Arizona, and you can utilize that by social media,
Mhm.
leveraging your social media, being smart, strategic, joining certain Facebook groups,
Yeah.
networking events, things like that. But it was just getting fully involved, because I never thought that I would book a project for whatever reason. And my way of thinking growing up, like my self talk wasn't really right. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
okay.
Like I
Yeah.
guess if we can say it like that.
How would you say that what you tell yourself, how much does that have an impact
Uh
on what we do?
it's make or break, 100%. What you choose to think about yourself is gonna become absolutely true.
Mhm.
Whether it is at the time that you say it to yourself, like, and I mean that more so when you're thinking negatively,
Mhm.
whether it be through trauma, your upbringing, experiences, whatever. I think it's very important, especially for men, to focus on their mindset,
Yeah.
to work on their inner development, because that's where it all starts. If we don't get a grip on that, it's going to overflow into our whole life, our
Yeah.
work, our relationships, just any decision. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's very important for us to get a grip on that.
I think one of the things that I'm really big on is or against is victimhood
Hmm.
and the things that we say.
Yeah.
And there was a thing I wanted to try with my wife, and I said, "How about we try for 21 days not to complain about anything?"
Yeah.
Because we do have self-fulfilling prophecies that
Hmm.
whatever we tell ourselves ends up coming true,
Hmm.
and whether it's positive or negative. And I think that and I love that for my faith, we call those things that are not as though they were, and
Hmm.
that goes for the positive and the negative.
Hmm.
And so that's one thing that me and your dad were. I didn't know where his stance was on that because I'm a very big name it and claim it kind of guy.
Yeah.
And but that's in the positive sense. If it's in the Bible and it's for me, I'm going to speak it. I'm going to claim it.
Hmm.
I want it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Same thing with our salvation.
Hmm.
Someone says, how do you know you're saved? Well, because I believe in my heart, confess with my mouth, and by faith I'm saved.
Hmm.
So why couldn't I receive everything else from God the same
Right.
way?
Absolutely.
Um, how difficult is it to be in the acting world and still be a man of faith? Because I know everyone knows the stories about Hollywood and the
Hmm.
sex, the drugs, the lifestyle, especially with the stuff going down with P Diddy and
Yeah.
all the orgies and all the craziness. How hard is it to still proceed and succeed without getting pulled by those?
Of course, it depends on who you ask, but for myself, I do feel like it is pretty difficult because I'm not willing to compromise who I am, first of all, as a child of God,
Yeah,
second of all, as a man, and then third of all, being in a beautiful relationship with my
yeah,
girl. You know what I'm saying? As we were talking about earlier, I get cast to play a lot of bad guys, a lot of villain
yeah,
roles, and as we've seen, like and I'm a fan of, at the end of the day, like a chef, all they want to do is cook. An artist, all
yeah.
they want to do is paint. An actor just wants to act. A dancer just wants to dance. But It is pretty difficult. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
It's I don't even really know how to answer that, but it's such a good question.
What so controversial.
Yeah,
What did you think about the whole Diddy thing when all that stuff came out?
I pretty wild,
Yeah.
pretty wild. And then at the end of the day, you give enough power to somebody, they'll think they're above the law. They're above God's law. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And that comes with fame, that comes with money, that comes with exposure, opportunity. But wasn't surprising.
Yeah.
It is pretty crazy though. It is pretty crazy. And let's also think of like just because it's happening on a grander scale and in Hollywood, don't
Yeah.
ever think for 1 second it can't happen on a small local level.
It starts going downhill.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely. You know, I've had some conversations with some people that unfortunately they've been taken advantage of. They've been put in
Yeah.
uncomfortable situations in order to get an opportunity. And it's like, what do you do, man? Like in that situation, because if somebody is granting you an opportunity to live your dreams, chase your dreams, and you may not be, I guess, knowledgeable in that area
Mhm.
because you just haven't had that experience. So you just kind of go through with it. And the next thing you know, a few months down the line, a few years down the line, you regret that decision,
Yeah.
you know, and then you have like this whole negative outlook on when it comes to show business. But I do believe there is a right way to do it.
Yeah.
And just because it may take you a little bit longer, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not for you. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? I choose to stay grounded in my faith. I choose to stay anchored in my faith. And I know God's going to provide
Yeah.
in any industry that I want to get into. I know He's going to provide. You know.
Yeah, no, I believe the same thing.
Mhm.
What did you think about so what would you say out of all the actors, um who do you kind of look up to? Who's inspired you? Who do you kind of, is there anyone that you kind of like try to model after?
I would say Oscar Isaac.
Oscar
He's
Isaac?
he's had a lot of great films. I mean, I feel like he's the one that's played like three, well, three maybe four, um, in his movies, his roles. He's played four different like superheroes, villains, and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And people would say that he's the only one that's able to do that, and that's just Oscar Isaac doing his thing. But he's a phenomenal performer, a great actor, very dynamic, very dramatic, very
Yeah.
intense. Um, I would want to say probably Daniel Day Lewis.
Mhm.
It's something that somebody that my dad grew up watching, somebody that I
Okay.
grew up watching. I fell in love with him and Leonardo DiCaprio in the film Gangs of New York, where
Oh,
Daniel Day Lewis played a butcher. Yeah, and Leonardo
yeah.
DiCaprio was a young kid growing up into the gangs and stuff like that. His performance was insane.
Yeah.
So Daniel Day Lewis for sure, and definitely Denzel Washington.
Yeah,
I feel
yeah,
like
I was gonna
Denzel
say
Washington is super
Denzel.
dope. Yeah, he's super dope, man. In anything that he gets casted in, um, yeah, he's always been awesome for sure.
There's that new movie coming out, Gladiator 2. I
Yeah,
wasn't sure how I felt about it.
50-50. Yeah, yeah. A lot
Yeah,
of
you
people are
know,
50-50.
because I loved the original Gladiator.
Right,
I
absolutely.
mean, Russell Crowe did a phenomenal job,
Hmm.
and now I see him now, and I'm a little disappointed on how he's kind of let himself go a little bit.
Russell Crowe.
Yeah, his
Yeah,
physique and everything.
yeah.
I mean, he's still a great actor.
Hmm.
Just I'm just used to seeing the Cinderella Man,
Yeah,
or the Gladiator, and I'm like, what's going on with this guy?
yeah. His most recent project, we'll catch him on Craven the Hunter.
Uh huh.
I think.
Oh,
I
that's
think.
right.
Yeah, I think he plays Craven's dad.
Yeah, and he's a
So
villain in this one.
yeah, yeah. So I really want to watch that. Definitely, it's gonna be a good one.
That one's gonna be good. What other movies are you excited to see that are coming out pretty soon?
I haven't really kept up with what's been coming out. I want to say Craven the Hunter. I think that one's
Yeah,
gonna be a pretty cool one. I probably will check out Gladiator 2.
yeah, yeah. I am
Definitely
too.
because of Pedro Pascal, Denzel Washington. I forgot that other actor's name. He's also a lead in that project. The guy I forgot his name.
Oh, the main actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I'm excited. I'll just say this because I just rewatched it again. Deadpool and Wolverine. That
Oh,
one was cool,
dude.
dude. That one was super cool. That's the movie we've been waiting on, man. Definitely.
It- so now so if we're gonna talk about Deadpool,
Yeah.
we gotta talk about this woke culture
Mhm.
that's kind of just been screwing up
Yeah.
everything. Disney, I mean, totally screwed up the Marvel movies.
Yeah. They did.
There's a guy that I watch, Nerdrotic. I don't know if you've ever heard of him,
I
but
haven't. No.
he breaks down a lot of the woke culture in movies and in shows, and he just kind of tears it apart.
Yeah.
And he's like, the stuff isn't working. It's not selling. Like
Mhm.
people are seeing this, and we're like, we gotta get rid of this.
Yeah.
I think even South Park did a really funny episode making fun of the lady who was directing the Disney stuff.
Yeah.
And they were like, make it gay and put a chick in it. And it was
Yeah.
like, that's what they've been doing to all these movies.
Yeah.
And they kind of like renamed the MCU the MCU
Yeah.
because these original guy roles, they're almost like sabotaging their roles, getting rid of them and replacing them with women.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing against ladies, guy. I love ladies,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't have Thor make it iconic and then all of a sudden try to get rid of him and put a woman Thor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the last movie that we just watched was Venom, and I really liked it, but I was a little disappointed at the end.
You talking about The Last Dance, the third one? I
Yeah.
haven't seen it yet.
Oh, I don't want to ruin it for you, but
I want to.
I was disappointed at the end,
Mm.
and that's all I have to say. They set it up for if they wanted to, they could make another one,
Mm.
but yeah, I don't want to give.
They got to get Tom Holland and Tom Hardy's Venom together somehow.
Yeah,
And then now again with the multiverse, Doctor Strange, from what we've seen from all three Spider-Mans sharing the screen.
that was pretty
anything
cool.
can happen. Yeah, absolutely.
was pretty
that was
cool.
like childhood with the new childhood with this generation. I was like, that was pretty cool to see Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, of course, the OG.
Oh, yeah.
So it was pretty cool.
And I know that they're coming out. What other movies are talking about actors? Robert Downey Jr.
Mhm.
One of my favorite movies of his, I think, was he played with Robert Duvall,
Mm.
and that was his father, who's the judge. I think it's called The Judge.
Mhm.
Have you ever seen that?
I haven't.
Oh man, if you guys haven't had a chance to see The Judge, it's a few years old,
Mhm.
but he is a really successful, prestigious defense lawyer,
Mhm.
and his dad is this little town judge respected by everybody, and it's like his dad hates him because he ended up, he felt like he sold out, and he became this really high prestige, defense lawyer,
Mhm.
and he ends up coming home, loses his marriage, like all this stuff is going bad. But what I really like about this movie is it's not action packed. It's a beautiful storyline that makes sense. And you can't replace good acting,
Mhm. Yeah.
where
Very
they
true.
like, we can get excited with the CGI, with the Venom stuff and the green screens and all that. But what do you think about just going back to wonderful storylines
Mhm.
and just good acting?
I think that's probably the essence of, I mean, movies. That's where it's coming from. Because, like you had mentioned, sure, the action stuff is fun, the dramatic stuff, the CGI, like you had mentioned, the
Mhm.
green screen. I think taking it back to its roots, just having a good story. Of course, it starts with the script,
Mhm.
starts with the story, and then I think next would be, of course, you got to find your locations, things like that. But once you have a script, I think your casting has to be on point,
Yeah.
making sure that your leads are compatible with each other, because you really never know. Sure, it's a great opportunity if your actors or the people you're calling to bring on this project have worked with each other in previous projects. But what if it's somebody you've never met? This is the first time you're meeting them.
Yeah.
Not to say it can get a little awkward, but things can get a little tense sometimes. And I think for the better. When I say tense, I think it can get like it's for the better, because everybody's got a different way of preparing for stuff.
Yeah.
Like for me, like if I feel like I'm acting, at the end of the day, I would feel like, not that this is a joke, but for me, I need to feel like
You are the
make
character.
this feel as real as possible.
Yeah.
Because if we're gonna spend all this time getting ready, whatever it may be, some of this stuff costs money, and
Mhm.
in order for us to reshoot the scene, like you got to reset some stuff up, like that's money spending left and right. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
preparation is everything, and a lot of people, I enjoy method acting. To be
Oh,
honest
okay.
with you, just diving in all the way. Like, why not? If everybody's comfortable and you trust the people that you're with, like,
Yeah.
go all the way. Like, what's the
Become the
point?
character.
Yeah, why not? And sure, you can plan and prep before you go on set as much as you can, but for me, like once I'm on set, that's when everything starts to click.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes 1 to 2 takes, and then after that, like we're in it, we're loosened up. You know what I mean? But I think good storytelling starts with a really good script, a good story.
Do you think
Yeah.
that's going to change now that the woke everyone knows that the woke is going broke
Mhm.
and things are going to become more creative without trying to put DEI stuff into the movies and into the storytelling. Do you think that that would bring like bring back the good stories that have the organic, acting that people would what we loved and grew up with? Do you
I
think?
think that that's always gonna be there. We're never gonna be able to get rid of that because people, I
Oh,
feel like the people who love like a good story or a good script, just keeping it very, very like less CGI, man.
yeah.
More deep diving on the performance work, more
Hmm.
on the chemistry that we see on screen. I feel like you can't really fake chemistry. I mean,
Yeah.
you can, but and the audience may not catch that, but from a performance standpoint, you could tell that it's kind of forced.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You can't replicate authenticity. You can't replicate like the I don't even know how to put it, but you can't replicate fake.
Hmm.
You just got
Hmm.
to dive in all the way. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I think it's cool that we get to use technology to our side,
Yeah.
but let's not overdo it.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
every single project that we do, we got to add CGI. We got to add, if it's needed, cool, let's add it. But let's try to minimize it so we can keep everything as real,
Yeah.
visually real as possible.
I think that's why the we were talking about for those who are used to this channel, we talk about faith, we talk about entertainment content.
Mm,
One of the more successful shows was The Chosen,
mm,
and a lot. If we're gonna be real honest, or at least I'm gonna be real honest, a lot of Christian content is almost cheesy
mm.
in a way,
Yeah.
and very low budget. You can tell that it's not as entertaining as some of the high budget stuff, right?
Mm, mm.
But like with The Chosen, it kind of changed the game.
Yeah, it did.
And their first episodes, I mean, they still dropped some money on it, but it wasn't crazy amounts. But I think they spent more on their talent and the storylines, right?
Mm,
Keeping it pretty accurate. And then they were pretty creative
mm.
with how they were putting that together. What do you say about The Chosen? What do you think about that?
I think The Chosen is amazing. Finally, we got something that could speak to this generation. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And to me, that first episode, we get Jesus at the last few minutes of the episode. I think it's Mary Magdalene. She's at the bar, whatever it may be. And Jesus calls her and is like, I've known you. And it's just very emotional, brought me to
Hmm.
tears. Like anything that has to do with the truth, definitely will. We're talking about God. We're talking about Jesus. Now, I believe in Jesus. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? With my whole heart, I accepted Christ back in when was this? I think December 7th of 2017.
Oh, okay.
So, and then when The Chosen came out, I was just like, man, I was binge watching it, dude. I
Yeah.
really was big
Same.
time. I know when Dallas started, I remember watching his interview, and Dallas is the creator of The Chosen,
Hmm.
which is also, I think is also from Illinois. So shout
Oh,
out
is
to
he?
Illinois. Yeah. If not Illinois, I think Ohio. I'm not sure. But he said that he was in bed with his wife one time, and he was up, he couldn't sleep. He was trying to figure out, I think, promoting or marketing with The Chosen,
Hmm.
and then he just heard God tell him that I do impossible math. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
he turned to his wife and he's like, I just got this whole, God just told me this. Now, how do you say that to somebody?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because each experience is very different. You might sound crazy, whatever it may be. But I believed him when he said that. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Because if you're a man of spirit, like you can tell spirit to spirit that was
Yeah.
God talking to him. And then he started with The Chosen, started with episode 1, and look where we're at now.
Oh yeah.
Crowdfunded, you know what I'm saying? The audience wanted to push this and see this grow.
Yeah.
And how amazing has that been?
I think it also too showed that there's an audience for this.
Yeah.
And even though, I think too what I noticed is in the media and in Hollywood, they kind of go on um charts and to see what people want to see. You know what I mean? And they kind
Mhm.
of cater things to what do the billboards say,
Right.
and then they duplicate those.
Mhm.
I mean, to their own detriment
Yeah.
instead of coming back to the creative side. But there's a whole audience out there that was being neglected,
Mhm.
especially in this space.
Right.
And I think now after the election
Mhm.
with Trump, for those who watch this channel know I'm a big Trump fan.
Mhm.
There's a whole group of people that are underserved
Mhm.
and that are kind of silent for the most part, but they're holding back their money because they don't want to support certain things,
Right. Right.
and now things are changing. I think there's going to be a whole new boom. They talk about a People are praying for a revival, or something different for God to do something. I
Mhm.
think things are happening now
Yeah,
that there's going to be a boom of creativity,
there is.
entertainment, in business, in jobs, and churches have to change
Mhm,
because there's a model that they followed that's really ineffective.
mhm,
I think the same thing with the entertainment.
mhm.
And
I feel like God's prepping His people for sure.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that it is going to be a come to. It is. It's going to be a come to take over. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. Because like I don't know. I want to like word this correctly, but don't let us remind you of who God is. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like type of thing.
Yeah.
So we can do that creatively. We can do that with having good conversation, with a podcast episode, with a short film project, with a good script. You know.
Yeah.
So
So right now, what would you say would be the next project you would love to get involved with?
so there's a few in development right now. I'm just waiting for some dates. But I'm very much open to anything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Anything that's challenging. Again, an actor just wants to act. I'm hungry for it. I feel like the past few months I've been kind of laying low, trying to get my finances right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I don't really have like sure I have my family supporting me, but from a financial standpoint, I got to get right so I can when I get booked on something, I can fully dive into it, not have to worry about bills, whatever it may be. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Life. But we just finished a project back in June, July, titled Nocturnus.
Yeah. Is that the
Um,
is that the clip that we have?
no, that's just my actor's reel. A few
Okay.
projects that I've
So
done.
we're gonna share that with you guys here
Yeah,
in a few minutes. But
it's always something, man. When you see yourself on screen, I feel like to me, not that it's cringy, but I was telling you earlier, I was like, man, you watch some footage. Oh, I should have done this. I should have done this. That's after the fact.
start
Yeah,
critiquing.
naturally, you're gonna be your biggest self critic, but at the end of the day, I feel like once you wrap a project, just let it go. Once you wrap up an audition, don't dwell on it. Just let it go. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So, but it is tough. Easier said than done, for sure.
That's the same thing. I feel like I know I'm not an actor, but I love entertainment. I
Yeah.
love the spoken word, and I'm developing and growing,
Hmm.
so I can start to articulate my words a little bit better.
Hmm.
And one of the things is with the podcast, I look back a year ago and I see some of my first podcasts, and it's cringe worthy when I see
Yeah.
myself. But when you see the progression, I guess the more you do something, the better you get at it. And
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's not be so stuck on the self critic and to where we get lost in the journey, always wanting to get better. Sure, that's a good thing, but let's also realize how far we came.
yeah,
At one point we weren't doing this, and then fast forward to now, maybe a few weeks, few months, few years down the line, we're actually doing it. We have some experience under our belt. We know what we're talking about. We know what to look for, what to
yeah.
do, what not to do. So yeah.
Then it becomes it starts to become a little bit more natural.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
guys, we're gonna make Martin over here feel a little cringeworthy by putting up one of his pieces here.
Oh no.
So let's go ahead and pull this up on the screen, and then we'll talk a little bit about this project that you did here. So let me pull this up and press play. Man, I tell you what, that's pretty cool, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I'm over here. I'm like reliving the moments.
So were those when that was a collaboration of different projects?
Yes, yeah. So that's gonna
Okay.
be my acting reel up to date. I'm waiting for a few more projects to come out, and then I can go in there and select my scenes and put that in the edit as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can anybody where can we find these short films or videos? Where can we see them at?
So some of them will be on YouTube. Some of them will be on social media. I mean, as soon as I get the right to post, I'm posting on Facebook. I'm
Oh,
posting
okay, okay.
on Instagram. Some of them you do have to wait. Like you do sign a NDA. You can't post
Oh,
anything,
okay.
nothing behind the scenes until the project comes out.
Yeah.
For the people in showbiz, they know that we gotta abide by that. But yeah, once it comes out, dude, and we get the green light, I'm posting all over the place. Yeah, definitely. I know right now we're leveraging YouTube a lot because
Uh-huh.
it's a free platform to create, edit, and put on there. With the project that I was talking about that back in June, July, titled Nocturnus, we're gonna still working on the edit. We're still waiting for the directors and editors to put everything together, and then we're gonna have a film festival run.
Hmm.
This will be my first time entering into a film festival, just being a part of a
Oh.
project, so I'm not too familiar with it. But we're gonna try and see what we can do, build
Hmm.
some traction, and get the audiences excited, and see what we can do from there. I think short film is a little bit shorter, so we're trying to see what we can do to extend it and make a feature
Hmm.
film, get some investments, whatever it may be, win some competitions. So,
So though we're doing this live right now,
mm.
I guess there was an issue with the audio. Sorry
Mm.
about that, guys. But um, Martin, anyone ever told you that you look exactly like Pastor Stephen Furtick?
I actually like Pastor Furnick. He's awesome. But no, is it the beard? Is that what it is?
Maybe the
Yeah,
beard.
yeah. I actually get told I looked like Tony Parker from the Spurs back when he played basketball. I've been told we were talking about him, Oscar Isaac. I've
Oh,
been
okay.
told, yeah, he's like Guatemalan, and I'm Assyrian, so we have kind of like the same features, dark features.
Yeah.
But I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you. I like Pastor Furnick.
So what would you say? You look pretty fit, man. Tell me, are you on any diets? I mean, do you have a way of what's your lifestyle like with when it comes to food? One of the cool things right now is RFK is coming in and he wants to do a big war against the food industry, all these
Mm,
big pharma,
mm,
and make food healthy again.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
something that's interesting, my wife and I were just talking about this last night. We were looking at a couple of drinks that we had got, and you just look at all of the ingredients
Hmm.
that are in these energy drinks,
Hmm.
and we try to go a little bit cleaner with the stuff that we have. But last night, we were at Costco, and we've been eating clean,
Love Costco.
and they had their pies out, and
Hmm.
I go, oh man, I got to get a pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
So I got the pumpkin pie, got some whipped cream. We came back home and I started looking at the ingredients
Hmm.
and I was just disgusted
Yeah.
with all of the things I could not pronounce that are
Hmm.
in there.
Yep.
And then the same thing with the whipped cream. There was just, I mean, all kinds of stuff in there.
Hmm.
And as soon as because I've been eating cleaner, as soon as I ate it, I mean, I was gassy. I was like, man, this is not healthy.
Hmm.
What do you do to stay healthy and eat clean and stay fit?
Honestly, I just try to walk a straight line, to be honest with you. I've never been on a diet.
Hmm.
My nutrition has been up and down, more so the past few years, consistently healthy. But I just stick to the basics. Steamed white rice, again, being cultured, Middle Eastern rooted. I'm Assyrian, a lot of meats. But right now, day to day, it's just been steamed white rice.
Hmm.
When it comes to my source of protein, it would be either roast beef or steak.
Oh,
I know
okay.
we were talking about the reds.
Yeah.
Um, I also felt heavy when I would eat the steak and red meats consistently.
Oh.
So I was having a conversation with my sister, and she's like, "Be careful with eating a lot of reds every day." So I switched my animal-based protein to
Hmm.
fish, salmon.
Oh, okay.
Go
Yeah.
to Fry's, go to Costco, get some salmon. Easier to digest. You're not bloated. You
Yeah.
know, when it comes to like the steaks, the chicken, it stays in your system longer. Your body
Hmm.
needs a little bit longer time to break that down. I found out with the fish that it's cuts that time in half. You know,
Oh,
fish is
okay.
very lean, it's very light. And then so steamed white rice, got the meats, and then vegetables. You know, the
Yeah.
girl that I'm in a relationship now really pushed me towards vegetables, steamed vegetables, of course, cook your vegetables, you know. But just being consistent, I've never really had like when I first started working, I was like, yeah, I just want to look like I work out.
Yeah.
When I was young, that was me and my brother's goal. Let's look like we at least go to the gym, do something, you know. And I come from a lean background, so being lean was never an issue for me. My issue was
Oh,
gaining the weight, keeping the
gotcha.
weight, you know. So right now, I think I'm the heaviest I've been in a while, which isn't even really that heavy, but for me, it is a little heavy, moving a little bit slower while we're working out. But I think
Yeah.
I'm like 186 right now. I think for me to be lean, I think 163, 165
Yeah.
is where I'm fairly lean. You know, get the
Okay.
abs to show and stuff like that. But right now, yeah, it's just I think more so just being consistent. I'm
Yeah.
not really pushing for anything right now. More so just being consistent, keeping everything moving.
Yeah.
And then once I have like for example, I like the physicality on projects.
Hmm.
If there's a way I can kind of dive deep to kind of change my body a bit different for certain projects, certain roles, I would. Like I don't
Hmm.
mind doing that. Kind of like how Christian Bale does.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, that's
He's
crazy what he's
insane.
done.
And then Tom Hardy as well, going from the Warrior to Bane to playing all these different characters.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just all fun. I just feel like don't get too far, don't go too far off. Stick
Yeah.
to the basics. Like everybody knows the right answer. It's just being consistent and disciplined. You know what I'm saying? So
That's exactly it. I mean, the consistency, self control.
yeah. And it's okay to fall off. Like if you mess up one week, like life's all about balance. Don't
Yeah.
necessarily never do it again because you've fallen off for a few days, a few weeks, whatever it may
Yeah.
be. Like the body is such a beautiful, beautiful instrument.
Oh,
If we
dude.
treat it correctly, if we take our vitamins, we take our supplements, we eat the nutrition,
Yeah.
now we won't have to look into the medications in the future. And I come
Mhm.
from a pharmacy background, so I've seen a lot of
Oh.
people who've been athletic that just come in to pick up minor things, and I've seen the people who are not athletic come in picking up a list of medications that they have to take. Like I'm
Mm,
talking 15 to 20 pills a day.
dang.
Yeah, definitely. So if you kind of don't pay attention to that, you
Mhm.
know, it's not to scare anybody, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
You know, which you don't use now, you'll lose later in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you don't use it, you lose it.
100%.
What does your workout routine look like?
It's very bodybuilding style.
Okay.
I'm trying to get more into the cardio just to tighten up. Not more so of a look thing, but just
Mhm.
to up the stamina. I
Yeah.
love the sauna room, but it's very isolated. I'll pick 2 to 3 muscle groups every time I work out, and I'll spend like about an hour and a half
Yeah.
moving around. I like to warm up in the sauna room anywhere from 5, 10,
Oh.
15 minutes, you know, in the beginning of the workout.
Mhm.
Loosen up, cut the world off, throw your hat on, headphones in, and just kind of visualize your workout before you go out there and kill it.
Mhm.
Spend about 45 minutes to an hour, like lifting, working out, and then coming back into the sauna, probably 30 minutes, 45 minutes into the sauna.
Yeah, I think that just moving.
Yeah,
Just getting up off the couch.
yeah,
For those who are watching this video,
hmm
after this video, get up off the couch
definitely.
and go running or go jogging.
You definitely can. Like, don't count yourself out for sure. It doesn't matter what stage you are in life. You can absolutely start with where you're at. You don't necessarily need a gym to achieve your goals. I like going to the gym because on days I'm not motivated, I see other people in there grinding, killing it, pushing all for different goals, and it motivates you. Motivation will help you get started, but you really need the consistency and discipline. I've fallen off many of times, but I don't choose to stay there.
Yeah.
That's an important thing. I feel like what we get in this life, the one thing that we have in our control is the choices that we get to make. We either choose to say yes or choose to say no. I've said yes to some bad things, and I've also said yes to some good things.
Yeah.
You know, and vice versa, of
Yeah.
course. I feel like as long as I can make like 3 to 5 good decisions a day, I can complete that as a good day.
No, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And it makes it more realistic.
hmm
I heard someone say this and I kind of adopted it for myself, but it's called the 1% rule, and it's like every day just get 1% better.
Absolutely.
And whether it's food, whether it's moving around, whether it's being a husband or a father, whatever it is, just how can I get just 1% better
hmm
each day?
And you run that a course of a year.
365%.
365%. You done made 365 good decisions. Like you'll be in a different
Yeah.
place by then.
Like I gave
For
myself 6 months to get a six pack,
Mm,
and I'm 2 months away,
hmm
and I'm closer, but I know that I wasn't as disciplined,
Mhm.
but I'm better than if I wouldn't have even set the goal in the first place.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling better
Good.
until I
That's
ate,
the most
ate
important
that
thing.
pumpkin pie last night.
Yeah, yeah. But balance though. Let's
Yeah.
rewind to balance. You got to balance yourself. Like I'll probably eat And to me, like a cheat meal is like like a pizza.
Yeah.
My heart is so content off a pizza,
Oh yeah.
burger, chips, and that's about. I don't indulge, and I got like a whole table full of that stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, I just love pizza and tacos too. We got to talk about tacos. Tacos are good. But if we go to Costco, go to Whole Foods, go to Sprouts, Fry's, instead of going to Filiberto's, getting a burrito, you can make a burrito.
Yeah.
You get more of a quantity, healthier. You know, let's be smart about that.
You know, and actually, so doing we kind of did a modified paleo diet because we still do a little bit of carbs, but it's sourdough now. And you know, it's interesting. You just got to kind of try things and then see how your body reacts to it. An interesting thing about that is when I started doing the red meats and steak and eggs, that's pretty much what I was eating every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. My body reacted very well to it. I wasn't bloated or anything or feeling heavy. And an interesting thing is after 2 weeks, I was like, all right, I want to try some healthy fats. I've always been, or I just actually quite a few years ago I was allergic to avocados.
Okay.
And so I said, I really want to try an avocado here. Chopped it up, ate it, no issues.
Cool.
As soon as I stopped all the carbs and all the sugars and everything else, it's interesting. Some of the things that I was allergic to, I was no longer allergic to anymore. And
There must have been something in that. Your body was able to like heal itself or something.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's interesting. Same thing with the milks. We were, you know, we went from 2% whole milk, and then that was causing problems with me, issues with my gut, drinking that kind of milk. So then we went to oat milk, and we were doing that for a long time, and then it was causing problems with inflammation. So then we ended up going back to trying for the first time raw milk, and raw milk, no issues, and inflammation gone. I'm like, this is, you know, it's crazy.
Yeah. Just switch up the foods that we take. I wanted to ask you, how do you feel about fasting?
I think fasting is really good. I heard that fasting can actually repair your body, get rid of some certain things and clear it out. A friend of mine, Jeff, he's been commenting on here, did a 21-day fast, I think.
Good for you.
Yeah, I was like, holy cow.
Yeah.
The most I've ever done was a real strict fast was 3 weeks.
Wow.
And I don't recommend this. If you do a fast, make sure you wean yourself back to eating.
Yeah.
Because after 3 weeks, I was like, okay, I'm going to go get some Filibertos.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting this huge Filiberto plate, enchiladas and everything. And I was 3 bites in and I felt like I was going to die.
Yeah. Is your stomach's expanding again from being so tight? Yeah.
And heartburn, like it's on the 3rd bite.
Yeah.
I felt like I was going to die. So, you know, for long-term fast, you kind of chicken broth, you know, kind of eat a little slower, liquids, get some liquids back in, and then soups or something. But I like fasting. What do you think about fasting?
Yeah, I love it. I love working out in a fasted state.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you're trying to lean out, get tight. I know you mentioned you're trying to work on building your core, getting your abs.
Yeah.
I feel like working out fasted will help out because as soon as you're waking up earlier when you decide to go to the gym, you're not necessarily working off the food that you just ate. You're working out the food that's already in your system.
Yeah.
So your body doesn't go to food that you just ate. It goes to your fat cells to get the energy. So I feel like to tighten up, but it is also a different type of call when you're working out fasting. That's definitely a different beast to tackle. You know what I mean? Because you may be tiptoeing with being lightheaded. You may tiptoe if you're not used to it, being nauseous every now and again.
Yeah.
Now the intensity of the workout doesn't change. It's still there, but now you're just going not on E, but you eat a little bit, very light, maybe like a yogurt, some banana, something to kind of just kill that hunger and then just go smash your workout.
Okay.
Yeah, I think fasted is amazing for sure.
I've done only a couple of fasted workouts, 6:15 in the morning at Knockout Fitness. Shout out to Knockout Fitness. We're excited.
To Knockout Fitness, yes.
We're going to be opening up a new gym for those that are watching that are here in Arizona. We're going to open up a Knockout Fitness in Tempe off of Mill Avenue in Southern. We're just waiting for the last and final contract and for the lease, and we're going to sign that, and we're going to get started on that. But I woke
That's
up.
gonna be sick.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there. Definitely. That's gonna be cool. Grand opening, I'm there, dude.
And you know what? We're gonna go all out. We're gonna have DJ set up. We're gonna do a parking lot party. We're gonna have
Sick.
the grill out, cooking some. I was gonna say steaks, but we're gonna cook
Yeah.
some hamburger, hot dogs,
Perfect.
and have the whole thing open. But I woke up 6 o'clock, got to the class 6:15, and literally halfway through, I got lightheaded. Had to
Mhm.
go sit down. I was like, man, and it's because it's a different feeling. You got
It
to
is.
kind of got to get used to it.
Mhm.
But the results are good.
Yeah, you have no choice but to dive deep when you're working out fasted. 'Cause
Yeah.
if you're just gonna tiptoe during your workout and you're fasted, like you're not really doing what your body, like you're not being optimal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you'll know it for sure. And then listen to your body, of course. Good thing that you felt your body kind of, well, I need to take a second to breathe, get some water, work on my breathing, and then hop right back into it.
Yeah.
If you got to take an extra 5 minutes, so what? You know?
So on this channel, we do talk a little bit. We talked a little bit about everything. One of the other questions I wanted to ask you or talk about, because your dad's been so amazing. As I've known him for a couple months at Knockout, how important do you think it is, not just in this society, but in all societies, to have a father in the home? And of course, we're men of faith, but outside of that, what do you think about fatherhood and having that father, that figure in the house?
So I'm not a father. I can't wait to experience that blessing. But having my father all my life, being 32 years old, I think it could be a make it or break, to be honest with
Mm-hmm.
you. Like we need fathers in the households. We need fathers to hold it down. You know what I'm saying? Not just from a children's standpoint, but
Mm-hmm.
from being in a relationship standpoint, being the king of the house
Yeah.
to his wife, to his queen, to then the kids. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it all starts with the men. You know, and it's unfortunate. You know, we all have friends and family members that don't have that blessing of an opportunity to have fathers around.
Mm-hmm.
And just diving even more deeper on the unfortunate side of things is that you see it played out into their lives.
Yeah.
The way they treat themselves, the way they speak to themselves, the opportunities that they put themselves in. Like, had they would have had somebody to show them,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and of course it's never too late, but
Yeah.
a lot of things we can attack and do right if there's fathers in the household.
Mm-hmm.
You know, life happens for everybody differently, but it's all relatively the same.
Yeah.
You know, we're all connected somehow. I think having fathers is very important. You know, my dad has been amazing from day one. And is he perfect? Absolutely not. But is
Yeah.
he amazing? Absolutely.
Yeah.
His work ethic, the way he speaks to me, my brother, my sister, the relationship that he has with my mom, that's something that I hope to have with my girlfriend, fiance, wife when we get there. And there's so many, and this is stuff that money can't buy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? This is stuff that is legendary. That's worth more than gold.
Mm-hmm.
You can't buy loyalty. You can't buy
Yeah.
the truth. You know, you can't buy honesty, and that's all the qualities that my dad
Yeah.
has. You know what I'm saying? So those are the stuff that I try to implement in my life. And I'm not trying to grow old too quick, although I can, you know what I'm saying, appreciate getting older. But again, trying to understand my season, trying to get
Yeah.
better, trying to take, you know, what my dad has done and build that legacy. It's always so cool talking about legacy. And at the same time, once you're on that road,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily a chase, but once you're on that road, it's kind of surreal, man, because now you're in it, now you're doing it. There is no going back because
Yeah.
there's nothing to go back to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
One of the cool things that, my dad, I love my dad, used to hate him actually for a long period of time.
mhm,
And I had to learn that anger and resentment was the one thing that was destroying my life.
mhm,
And so once I learned how to forgive everyone, including myself, and and remove my emotions
mhm,
and come back and analyze things a little bit different. They say, walk a mile in someone else's shoes.
mhm,
And then you start to realize, like, I'm not that different than some of these people that I actually, disliked.
yeah,
And one thing that I'm so grateful for with my dad was he was the one that planted the faith that I now have in my life.
mhm,
That was, and that's one thing I'm so grateful for. I think I was talking to him not too long ago, and I just said, Dad, I want to thank you for planting that seed of faith.
mhm.
How has your dad been that example of faith in your life?
I mean, he instilled that in me and my brother and my sister very young.
Yeah.
Always keep God close, keep God first. Doesn't matter what you're going through, the highs, the lows, the goods, the bads. Always pray.
Mm-hmm.
Prayer is powerful.
Yeah.
Prayer is a weapon, not to be used at somebody, but for somebody
Yeah.
against the forces of evil, darkness. We can't believe in dark and not believe in light. That thought process, I think, is incomplete.
Mm-hmm.
So that is real. This is I believe in that with every cell of my body. I've had some encounters quite a bit later in life as I'm in my thinking. The Holy Spirit,
Mm-hmm.
and my dad has always been, yeah, keep God first. Can't do
Yeah.
nothing in this life without God. You're either gonna join the forces of good and do it, or you're gonna join the forces of evil
Yeah.
and do it. You know what I'm saying? So work on your inner development.
And-
Don't stir far away from your roots and who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like people who have bad relationships with their parents, like you got to hurry up and fix that. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Because family is very important. At the end of the day, accolades, trophies, cars, houses, clothes, all this materialistic stuff
Mm-hmm.
does not outweigh the power of family.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Over here sounding like Vin Diesel and family this, family that, but it's the truth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's 100% the truth. I believe in that, and your family's got your back at the end of the day. And like you had mentioned, walking a mile in somebody else's shoes, like nobody's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing the best that they can at the time with what they have. You
Yeah.
know, I had mentioned, are my mom and dad perfect? No, but they're absolutely amazing. Their work ethic, they're beautiful, and I wouldn't give them up for the world because what they have done has created me, my brother, and my sister.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
yeah,
And that's all we could ask for. I mean, we don't ask to be born in this world, but once we are, we're grateful for the life that we have.
absolutely.
And it's all a mindset, how we look at things, how we process things. I come from a background of addiction and alcoholism,
Mm,
and one of the things that they shared with in recovery, I was actually talking to Jeff about this earlier.
mm,
He said there was a guy that says that we're always recovering, and I said, wait a minute, that's not biblical.
yeah.
And even in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, in their own literature, it's interesting because a lot of people will say that we're always recovering, we'll always be recovering. But
Mhm,
even in their own literature that was written in 1935 says we have recovered
mhm,
from a hopeless state of mind and body. And they talk about one of the things that blocks us from God's power is anger and resentment.
mhm.
And to learn to release, that's that wall that blocks us from his power. So if we remove that wall, all of a sudden that power comes in,
Mm.
and now we have the power to overcome these things that were overcoming us.
Yeah, I feel like surrendering is a powerful thing too,
Oh
man.
yeah, yeah.
That for me, that was like forgiveness, surrender, and to forgive yourself, man. Addiction is tough, man. Addiction is of the enemy to keep you
Mm-hmm.
trapped and to keep you cornered, to keep the negativity flowing in your life. But we got to understand, like with God, with Christ on our side, we can overcome so much more than that. Like
Yeah,
all of that stuff is underneath us. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? And influence too, who we choose to keep around us, what we
yeah.
choose to listen to, what we choose to see and soak in and embody. Like influence is huge,
Mm-hmm.
and it can start all the way being young as a kid.
Yeah.
What your kids are into, what they're watching, what that can transpire to, the
Mm-hmm.
relationships they see with mom and dad, whatever it may be. You know what I'm saying? So surrender and influence is very critical. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, and thank you for bringing up addiction because I feel like as men, we have to talk about that more.
Oh yeah.
It's okay to be vulnerable and get with other men who share the same vision and passion and are also Christ-like, believe in God, but also understand that
Mm-hmm.
addiction happened to them. Addiction happened to me as well. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And there's ways to get through it. I feel like fitness kind of saved me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Being consistent, being disciplined, getting in there and working. Sometimes not even necessarily having a goal.
Mm-hmm.
Let's
Mm-hmm.
just get in there and get moving.
No, that's
You know?
huge. And what we focus on, will either become stronger,
Hmm.
based on our attention. And so, there's a lot of guys that I will counsel, and they say, "I'm trying not to watch porn, or I'm trying not to do this thing."
Hmm.
I said, "The more you try not to do it, the greater it's going to become." Kind of like that scripture that Paul talks about in Romans chapter 7, where he says, "The things I don't want to do, I do, and the things I want to do, I don't."
It's very true.
And
Yeah.
he says, "Who will save me from this body of sin?" And he was talking about the law, and he's like, "The more I try to do this thing, the greater I keep failing at it.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I have to let go of trying to do this and look unto God's grace.
Mhm.
And the moment I surrender and let go of trying in my own strength to not do this thing,
Mhm.
the moment is the moment it loses its power.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I like to you shared is when I stop focusing on the addiction, when I stop focusing on not trying to do something and focus on working out, my relationship with God,
Mhm.
doing all these other things, the do's and stop worrying on the don'ts. All of a sudden, God comes in and does for me what I can't do for myself.
Right.
And then I can't boast about recovery because God did it for me. I just focused over here, you know?
That's why it's also important going back to your circle, the people you choose to keep around you. Like
Yeah.
either they're influence you to stay there or they're influence you to change. You know what I'm saying? And that's why God will send people into your life in
Yeah.
many different forms. It could be
Yeah.
something we see on TV, a person, anything. You know what I'm saying? But in order to go from that to this, like you might need some help. So don't necessarily
Yeah.
be quiet and think you're by
Yeah.
yourself because you're absolutely not. What you're going through, I'm sure somebody else has gone through
Absolutely.
who is within your reach that you can speak to.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like staying silent can build and become a cancer, for example, if we don't really focus on taking care of that. you know?
Yeah.
So,
Well, man, we're coming up on an hour already.
man, already.
This has been pretty awesome, man. Before we sign off, let everybody know how they can follow you, how they can watch some of the things you do, and if you got one final message that you want to share with whoever's watching, go ahead and share that now.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, bro, I want to say thank you so much for having me on this. It's
Yeah,
such
man.
a fun episode to shoot. But my social media, Facebook, Instagram. On Facebook, it's Martin James. On Instagram, it's Martin James Did It. And that's about all the social media that I have. So I have a few projects that I'm working on that I'm excited for, that I'm trying to prep my mind, body, and spirit for. I think I have 2 this upcoming at the end of this year, and then
Yeah.
a few more coming up next year. But one positive thing is I feel like, man, should have a car or something. But I just want to say I love you guys, man, and I really, really appreciate you guys and keep supporting Jacob. What he's doing here is very, very cool. Shooting these episodes, shooting these podcast videos, getting like-minded people together to spread the word, to spread the message. And I just want to say thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Well, thank you.
looking forward to the grand opening of Knockout. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
It's gonna be real cool.
Well, and I want to thank you guys for watching. Those who stuck around this long, you guys are great. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification button. We're going to definitely have Martin James back on the podcast.
Love it. Yeah.
And we appreciate you guys. God loves you. We love you. Until next time, God bless.